So the next game we got here is Packers and Bears. What do you think about that one, Bobby?
I've got the Packers covering, winning, and hitting the over.
You know what? We're in agreement on that one. So that's about 5 games right now. I think we're in complete agreement on that.
That is currently going off at 249.
249. Yeah.
I know everybody wants to give a lot of love to the Bears right now, but I just got to see it to believe it.
I do too. I have to see to believe it.
Even though I did take Fields as my quarterback this year.
Fantasy football has nothing to do with the book. It has nothing to do with the sports book.
Now, I did the under. I could definitely see the under hitting in this game just because it's Chicago, and we're not sure of the weather yet so far. And that's actually going off at 270 right now.
So I would go over all day on that one, only because of the fact that the only reason why I would see this game going under, honestly, is if the Bears are held to 10 or less points. That's the only reason why I would see that, and I can see it happening.
And the Packers are covering anyways.
Yes, but I mean, as far as for me, I definitely have the Packers to cover, Packers to win, and then hit the over. That's definitely where I went in that range. The only way I can see that under hitting is if the Bears score 10 or less points. It's the only way I can see that happening. Khalil Herbert, that is my fantasy player out of that game at 5,300. I didn't really like a lot of players in this game whatsoever. But Khalil Herbert is who I would think as far as like a featured player that I think would hit that from a dollar value when you go on daily fantasy.
He's going to get his touches this year.
And what everybody has to understand when you're doing daily fantasy, you're not going for like, oh, this is the best player because everybody gets a chance to pick that player. That's why I like to bet in the book over fantasy because you're trying to beat 57,000 people with the same salary cap that you have. And so you don't want to get the same players that everybody's like, yes, this is the guy that's just stuck. You got to find those diamonds in the rough, because that's what the Sharps do, and that's how they win those big millionaire makers.
Like Jordan Love in this game.
Okay.
He goes off at 5,000 for your quarterback. I mean, you can spend the rest of the money on top tier wide receivers and running backs.
Absolutely. And who's the Bears defensive backs of any note? Not really anybody. I mean, Eddie Jackson, I know is a safety. But, I mean, outside of that, I'm like the corners. I mean, is Fuller still there? Is Kyle Fuller still there? I think maybe Kyle Fuller.
Could be.
But either way, I mean, he's getting up there in years a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Matt Eberflus is a defensive coach, their head coach by nature. So let's see. I mean, they're going to play ball and they're going to give their all-out effort.
Well, the Packers, they're always competitive.
Yeah.